stem knuckle seal nou? Erbij. Zo beslima. Шукам те.
Hi, everyone. We'll just begin in a few minutes. Hi, Katerina. Good to hear you. Not able to see you yet. All right. Do we have Twinta already joined in?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So I warmly welcome all of you gathered here for our webinar on what is common between Stramonium, Nux Vomica, Coffea and Arnica. So Homeopathy Musings is happy to present this webinar to all our Bulgarian audience. The key speakers for this webinar is Dr. Preeti Shah and Dr. Prajakta Vaidya. And along with them, Dana will be here to translate the teachings in the Bulgarian language. So those who wish to hear the session in Bulgarian language can switch to the Bulgarian channel option, which is there in your settings. In case you wish to listen to this webinar in the English language, you can switch to the English. I repeat, there is a setting option where you can switch the language option according to the preference. So you can either switch to English language or you can switch to Bulgarian language. So a little about our key speakers. Dr. Prajakta Vaidya and Dr. Preeti Shah are the founders, the heart and soul of Healing Harmony Clinic and Karwan, which is a wellness retreat. Insightful and passionate, This duo comes with close to 2 decades of practice together. Dr. Shankaran and Dr. Gandhi have been their chief teachers and source of inspiration. They practice and teach classical homeopathy, sensation method, and personal evolution method. They are known in the homeopathic world for their initiative of Musings, an in-depth research methodology, case-taking, and knack of weaving various methods and presenting them in a clear, practical, and engaging way. Homeopathy Musings, I would like to say, is over 3 years old now, and it is a free session that we conduct every month from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. India time. We have various speakers who come on our platform and present their experiences, which benefits all homeopaths in India and globally. You can join us at Homeopathy Musings every first Saturday of the month. Among the younger generation, the duo have gained a lot of popularity, especially due to their work and courses on mammals and mollusks. These are one of the 2 popular modules that Homeopathy Musings have conducted so far. We also have a lot of other modules that are ongoing, which I will be addressing in some time. They have recently led and published credible provings on scallop and lac macropy. Dana Rulej is born in Sofia, Bulgaria, and working as an English classical homeopath for 13 years now, registered with the Society of Homeopaths. Graduated in 2010 at Northern College of Homeopathic Medicine, she has done public talks about the benefit of homeopathy, conducted various seminars, lectures for NHS medical students, previously studied and graduated in economics, cultural anthropology. She has participated 5 years in exploring psychodrama method, doing work with dreams, managing conflicts, anger, grief, and loss, personal development, etc., which greatly contributed to her understanding of human nature and helped her work with patients. Thank you, Dana, for being our translator for tonight. Special acknowledgements. We specially extend our gratitude to Ekaterina for her work in homeopathy in Bulgaria. She was amongst the first homeopaths who brought sensation method to the country. She supported Dana and Homeopathy Musings with this webinar by spreading the word amongst Bulgarian homeopaths. Thank you, Ekaterina, for your wonderful work and for spreading the word around.
Yeah, Quinta, before you go ahead, I would personally want to thank Ekaterina for this amazing work that she's been doing for homeopathy in Bulgaria and also helping us and Dana to spread homeopathy and, learn this also about the sensation method. So I really personally thank from Homeopathy Musing team for doing this amazing work. It's very nice to have you here.
Thank you, Dr. Prajakta ma'am. Right before we jump into the session, I would like to say a few basic hygiene factors so that there is no distraction and the teaching is clear and perfect. So kindly be careful with your lines. Stay muted all the while. Sometimes the lines can get unmuted. So kindly be careful and unmute yourself immediately. Mute yourself immediately. Keep your videos on. That will really help us in interaction. A face-to-face interaction always helps. And it also avoids the temptation to multitask. You can either raise your hand while the speaker is explaining, or you can put your questions or queries in the chat box, which will be addressed at the end of the session. Kindly refrain from scribbling on the screen. Make your notes, share your experiences, and most importantly, enjoy today's session. So these are the upcoming modules and the ongoing modules that Homeopathy Musings is conducting. So the two ongoing modules that we have is Clinicals with Chanda. Dr. Chanda is an ace clinician and is popular among the Homeopathy Musings group and participants. She keeps sharing her tips and clinical experiences, and therefore we have a session, a module with her, which focuses only on the clinicals. So the first session had already begun successfully on the 5th of May. Our second session, where she will be continuing the clinical about the skin complaints, will be held on 20th May, that is tomorrow. In case you wish to register, you may do so by contacting us. The recordings for the module will be available for 2 months. So in case you have missed the first session, which was conducted on 5th, where she explained about respiratory and fever complaints, you can get the recording, which you can access for 2 months with unlimited viewing. Our next ongoing module is in-depth plant module, which is spanned over the entire year of 2023, comprising of 36 lectures. Dr. Mahesh Gandhi is the chief mentor of this module, and our key speakers are Drs. Preeti Shah, Prajakta Vaidya, and Reni Shah. They will be dissecting every plant family that there is with the subclass, order, closely differentiating remedies, and everything that the plant kingdom has to offer. This session will end in December. The module has already begun. In case you wish to register, you can contact us. The recordings of the module will be available until the end of 2024. That is, you will have the recordings with you for unlimited viewing for 2 years, beginning from now. Our upcoming modules are continuing the mineral journey, rows 3 and 4, which will be conducted by Dr. Shekhar Algundi in the month of August. The dates are 2nd of August, 9th, 16th, and 23rd August. It is a module comprising of 4 lectures. We had already conducted rows 1 and 2, where Dr. Shekhar explicitly explained all the remedies belonging to rows 1 and 2 of the periodic table. And here in this module, we will be continuing the mineral journey from 3 and 4. So in case you wish to register, either rows 1 and 2 or the upcoming module, that is rows 3 and 4, you can contact us. The recordings will also be available for 2 months after the live session. Our next upcoming module is known as Milk Matters, which will be conducted by Patricia Hatherley, who is a well-known lactation consultant and has conducted several provings on the lac remedies, especially the lac macropy. Her module will be conducted in the month of September. The dates are 5th, 12th, 19th, and 26th of September. So there will be 4 lectures where she will be talking about the issues during lactation, homeopathically how we can help it, how lac humanum is a potential layer in every case, and she will also be explaining lac maternum and lac humanum. So in our upcoming musings, which I had just spoken about earlier, the free musing session, we have Dr. Sunil Anand sir, who will be coming on Homeopathy Musings on 1st June, which is a Thursday. This is an exception to the Musings. This time we are conducting it on June, 1st June, which is a Thursday. The topic is right brain probing, the therapeutic use of creative tools. For details, you can contact us. It is a free session. For any other further questions or difficulties, you can write to us on homeopathymusings@gmail.com, or you can contact any of the following numbers that you see that flashed on the screen. You can either contact our musing coordinator, Asmita, or myself, Dr. Twinta, for any queries or difficulties. We also have our YouTube channel where we have a lot of free videos which you can subscribe to. Thank you, ma'am. Over to you. Enjoy, everybody.
Сега да, но се наслагват двата езика.
So I think there's some technical difficulty in the Bulgarian channel. So I just wanted to make sure that people in the Bulgarian channel are able to hear Dana. And Dana, when you are speaking, you just listen in from original audio and you speak into the Bulgarian channel. And then that should not give you a double voice. Let me know if it works before I can actually start.
Ma'am, can I add something? There is an option mute original audio. So once everybody mutes the original audio, they will be here, but they will hear Bulgarian.
All right, perfect. So maybe Dana, that's something that you also need to do so that you don't hear double volume or whatever. Asmita, you can do that too. So you can only hear Bulgarian. Mute original audio.
Двата езика се чуват отново. Значи тук опцията е да слушаш или оригиналното аудио, или на български, или на английски. Като кликнеш български, се чуват и английски, и български.
И отдолу има...
Има, да, mute original audio, да. Добре, така го правим. И аз сега да видим. Сега те чувам, ама не чувам тях. Не знам дали...
Hello.
Yeah, Smita.
Пак отново се чуват и те, въпреки че е заглушено. Има някакъв проблем. Не знам, аз сега те чувам добре, но те мълчат.
Hello.
Сега чувам само теб, ама те мълчат, като ги гледам на картинката. Казват ли нещо? Добре, остава така. Ако не минаваме на английски, фокус. Няма проблем. Айде да не запираме сесията.
So now I'm hoping we are fine. Dana, give me a hands up, a thumbs up or something like that to confirm you're comfortable and we are good to go.
Отново се чуват и двата езика, и български и английски. Давай да продължаваме, защото да. Въпреки че е мютнат оригиналното аудио, така че ако стане много, минаваме на английски и толкова.
All right. So good. We had the technical challenge at the beginning, and that means that the whole session is going to go great, right? Whatever trouble we had to have, we already had it. Perfect. So let's start. I am going to now share my screen. And if one of you can let me know you're able to see my screen, that will be great.
Yes, ma'am, we can see.
Perfect. Okay. So the topic for today is, what is the common thread between some common remedies that we use, right? Stramonium, Nux Vomica, Coffea, Arnica. These are the remedies that we use day in, day out. They seem like completely different remedies. It's very hard to believe that Arnica has anything common with Stramonium. But if we can look a little deeper, if we can change our lens, we can find something which is very common between a lot of group of remedies. And this groups in homeopathy and the study of groups in homeopathy, in a way, the pioneer for it was Dr. Bonninghausen. He was the one who said if there is a symptom, if something is true for a part, it is true for the whole. So if Bryonia has a headache, which is aggravated by motion, Bryonia also has a knee pain, which is aggravated by motion, then in general, Bryonia is aggravated by motion. So you will find motion, movement aggravates in generalities also. So it was grand generalization within the remedy, right? So in one remedy, you can generalize and make it broader. Another example could be, let's say, cactus. What is the keynote symptom of cactus? We all know. We know this sensation of iron band. We know this sensation of constriction, as if there is an iron band and clutching very tightly. And if we put that keynote peculiar symptom of cactus in the generalities section, which you see on the right side of the screen, you see that this sensation as if band off, or the sensation of constriction in the internal parts, is true for cactus. But very interestingly, you also see the remedy rheum over there. Taking this further, if you read Vermeulen very interestingly says that this stricture around the heart, as if something has gotten hold of the heart, doesn't only mean that this sensation of stricture or constriction or iron band is true for heart. It can be true for vagina, it can be true for your extremities, it can be true for the bladder or back or head. But it is also true for the mind section. If you look in the repertory, ailments from disappointment in love, you will find cactus there. So it's not just a physical phenomena. Generality is not only at a physical level, but also at the level of mind. So what is true to the physical part is also true at the mental level. Now, if I go into the chapter Heart and Circulation, and just look at this constriction, this tension or tightness around the heart, there are several remedies. So in these several remedies, along with cactus, we see remedies like phytolacca. We see remedies like anhelonium. And what are these remedies? All of these remedies belong to, one is the plant kingdom, but very interestingly, they belong to the subclass 3, which is the caryophyllates, the Cactaceae family. It's a group of families, certain orders of families, of groups of plants that are placed in the subclass 3. And there are 4 remedies. Along with that generalities, we saw rheum also. So there are several remedies from a similar group. They are so closely associated that they are found in the same rubric. So it makes us think that there must be some connection, right? It's not random. Our homeopathic remedies are not just mere random collection of symptoms. If we study really deeply, we can practice homeopathy with keynotes. We can practice homeopathy with only the repertory, and we are going to get amazing results. And we have to do it. Our basics have to be strong, and we need to know our core homeopathy. But we have to take this homeopathy and understand it a little deeper, that each remedy also has something of its source, something, the nature, the spirit of the source is part of the symptomatology of the remedy. So cactus or bryonia or belladonna is not just mere symptoms. It's not aggregation of symptom 1, 2, 3, 4. But some source, some spirit, the nature of the source from which the remedy is made is also part of the remedy. And in the nature, in the source, there are several sources that are closely associated botanically, evolutionarily. And if we study and understand homeopathy from this perspective, not only does it make our life easy, and does it not only benefits our patients and clients, but it also makes homeopathy so very interesting. We'll give you one more example. Let's say the remedy belladonna. This remedy belongs to the family Solanaceae. This family has other important remedies like some common names are Stramonium, Hyoscyamus, Dulcamara, Mandragora. So, what is true to, let's say, at a physical level, let's say throbbing headache in belladonna, this throbbing, redness, suddenness of this headache, violence of this headache is not only true for the head of belladonna, but it is also true for the mind of belladonna. So you have to extract the physical particular of belladonna to the physical general of belladonna to the mental general of belladonna. But also some of these generalities are not only true for belladonna, but to all the remedies in the group, in the family in which belladonna belongs. So some of it is also true for Solanaceae. So there is some common theme of this suddenness, of this violence, of this throbbing, of this redness in also Stramonium, also Dulcamara, also Mandragora, and so on and so forth. So something is common. Now, from Solanaceae, which is the family in which Belladonna belongs, this family, there are a group of other families, two small families that form an order. So, Solanaceae belongs to Solanales. So, something of Solanaceae is common to Solanales. All the three families in Solanales have something in common. Now, all these three orders belong to one particular subclass. And that subclass is called Asteridae. That is the subclass 6. So all the remedies, all the families, all the orders of Asteridae, that is the subclass 6, have something in common. There is a common thread that runs through all the families, all the orders, all the remedies of the subclass 6, Asteridae. And they all belong to the class of dicotyledons, and they all belong to angiosperms, which are flowering plants, and all of this falls into the kingdom plant. So, for example, Belladonna and Staphysagria and cactus and bryonia have something of the plant kingdom, some generalities, which is a common feature of the plant kingdom, although they belong to different families, different subclasses, but they are all belonging to the plant kingdom. So if we study remedies in these sort of groups, we can form a very, very strong, very, very precise understanding of these remedies, and of course, map them with the patients. This is just the, in the order Solanales, what are the families? So this is just a snapshot of the plant kingdom, dicotyledons. So this is a plant chart of the 6 subclasses and the different orders that belong to each of the subclasses. So if I had to just kind of expand what I was telling previously, the Solanales, Belladonna belongs to subclass 6, which is Asterides. And in this same subclass, we have orders like Gentianales. We have family like Loganaceae here. That means remedies like Gelsemium, remedies like Ignatia, remedies like Nux Vomica. We have remedies in the group Rubiales, Rubiaceae, remedies like Coffea, remedies like China. And then we have a group of Asteridales. We have the Compositae family here. So you will see Chamomilla and Cinna and Arnica and remedies like that. So this is how, from the remedy to the family, to the order, to the subclass, to the class, to the, the kingdom. If we can study remedies step by step this way, we are going to be very, very sure of our prescription. Now, how are these remedies or orders placed into different subclasses? They are placed basically from their from an evolutionary perspective. That means, how did the first plant evolve? So they are categorized or they are classified based on when they evolved. So from an evolutionary perspective, you will see that subclass 1 will have the plants that evolved much before than the subclass 6 remedies, which are the most recent plants. Now, the chart that I showed you with the 6 subclasses, they all belong to the dicotyledons. So 90% of our remedies that we are prescribing in our clinics comes from these dicotyledons. These are the most advanced, most developed plants. They are angiosperms. They are all flowering plants. They come here. But we have a huge materia medica. We have mosses, we have lycopodium, which are basically plants which had no seeds. So we have a huge plethora of materia medica, of source, of remedies. And if we are able to classify them from where they belong, what has been their evolution, what has been their journey, and if you are able to understand the symptomatology from its source, from its evolution, trust me, when you start looking at remedies from this perspective, it changes a lot of things. So before we go into cases, and today we wanted to do cases, I thought we need to build some base, right? We need to kind of make sure that all of us are on the same page. So a very top level introduction on what is the plant kingdom. How do you understand that this is a plant remedy? So the core issues of the plant is sensitivity and reactivity. Basically, the plant remedies will always be sensitive to something, that something in the environment is doing something to them, and then they react. They get affected. It's just like how you see our plants in our gardens, no? How plants are so sensitive to the change of weather. If there is more sunlight, if there is less sunlight, the amount of water they receive, any minor major change in the environment, they will respond, they will react. They will either adapt, but they will definitely react. So this basic adaptation of sensitivity and reactivity is the key note for any plant family. I will skip this one and just give you some examples that, as compared to the animal kingdom or the mineral kingdom remedies, the plant kingdom remedies or plant kingdom patients needing a plant remedy will often say the words, "This affects me." The opposite person, my mother shouting at me, affects me. The damp weather affects me. Strong smells affect me. Too much light affects me. So they are all the time busy feeling, overthinking, reacting. The reaction can be shutting down, the reaction can be coming out, the reaction can be anything. But there is a sensitivity and there is an opposite reactivity. This gives us an indication of the plant kingdom. And once we are at the plant kingdom, we need to then identify what is the sensation. Yeah? And different families within the plant kingdom have different sensations. Yeah. And we can figure out the different sensations and then we can narrow down on the family. We can also take another approach of figuring out how evolved is this person, what is the inner age of this person, and then classify them into different subclass before narrowing it down to the different family. So there are various approaches we can use Then once, let's say we reach to a family, we reach to a subclass, we can then finalize the remedy by either using the miasm or the keynote or the repertory. So if your repertory says something, if your understanding of the miasm says something, if the language of the source is understood, and if you can understand this whole phenomena from the kingdom classification, from the group classification, then you can be very, very sure of your prescription. Because it's not unidirectional. You're not looking at the case only from repertory. You're not looking at the case only from sensation. You're not looking at the case only from Yakir's plant chart or Dr. Gandhi's certain methodology. No. You use all these tools together in unison. And if everything matches, only then you can be very, very comfortable, very, very sure that your patient is going to respond to this remedy. So with that, let's go to cases. Okay. This case is a very acute case of loss of sleep due to very, very, very severe and bad nightmares. It's an acute case, very short case, very young boy. Hmm? And I'm just giving you an excerpt of the case. Yeah. He says, it's like I get these scary dreams ages back when people used to be living in big old mansions and there were wars and people used to cut each other. I see all that. I see animals are eating me. They are swallowing me completely. I see animals are poisoning me. I saw once that a dog bit me and I had to get stitches and it was crazy. And he gets these terrible nightmares and he just wakes up from his sleep and he's not able to sleep alone. He needs his parents around him. And he wakes up all sweating and scared. And he's a young boy, very intelligent young boy. And very vivacious, very cheerful otherwise. So this is an acute state that came up. So then we are trying to understand, just trying to have this casual conversation with this young boy and ask him, what are the animals that attack you? He says, mostly snakes. When I go to shower to take a bath, I feel that the water pours down and suddenly the snakes will come down in the shower and they will, attack me. They will poison me. Once I saw a video of a Bangaris snake and I saw them fighting and I was extremely scared. What were the changes that you felt in your body when you got afraid? He says, I feel like going to the washroom that time. Then I think nothing is going to happen. And then I start thinking of all the good things. I start thinking about cycling. I start thinking about games. I start thinking about all the positive things in my life. We tell him to focus just what is the physical experience of this fear. He says, I just shake for a second. There is this sense of shaking in my body. And then later I become okay. I go and sleep with my parents. Then I start thinking about cycling. But I feel like someone is following me. Maybe the Indian goddess, Ma Kali. He thinks and he sees that this goddess, this is this goddess, she can look, she, has several hands, and in each hand there are different weapons, and she has this big eyes, and sometimes there is blood, and her mouth is open, and she's watching me, and she's watching me through heaven, and then she can come in front of me any minute. And these things happen to me only at night. All these frightening wars, everything that I see only happens at night. Then we try to elicit some other generals. We ask him about his nature in general. He says that if I have an interesting topic, and mostly I don't find anything interesting, the mother interrupts in between and says that he's very talkative, but he's very selective in his talking. He talks to people who show interest, let's say in cricket. This boy is an encyclopedia in cricket. So if you have that knowledge, if the opposite person is intelligent enough, who can strike a conversation with him, a meaning conversation with him, only then he will talk. And then once he starts talking, he can go on talking for hours. He says that he used to be able to back answer. He used to complain a lot, but now he doesn't back answer. He says that if somebody tells him that he's not good enough or he's not good, he will argue, he will counter that what is it? Give me an explanation. Why are you telling me this? But mostly people tell me good things. I've always heard compliments about me. We asked, why are you not back answering now? You used to back answer before. So he says, I feel really bad. I feel a sort of a rage inside me, and I want to keep it inside. I don't want to express it. We ask him, if given an opportunity, what will you do? He says, I won't do anything. Why? You should not do like that. It's bad. My mother tells me that I should not disrespect other people. So I keep that learning and understanding in my head, and then I forget the petty issues. We insist, what are the thoughts that you get when you're angry? He says, I feel like everyone is asking me to adjust. Why can't they adjust? He's a very young boy, maybe less than, I don't know, 10 years or something. Um, so we ask him, what are the thoughts you get? He's saying, everybody is telling that you are a child, you need to adjust. But my question to the elders is, why don't you adjust? Just because I'm young, you are asking me to adjust. But that's not an explanation. What is the difference between me as a young child and you as an adult if you cannot adjust? Just because I'm young, you can't just take me for granted. You see that this person, this young boy, is talking in such a matured way. And he has a very logical, rational way of thinking and arguing. He's not just throwing a tantrum. Yeah, it's very logical what he's saying. One thing I feel is that elders never respect younger ones. And I feel very angry about it. They can speak with love. If a ball hits them, then too they start getting angry, even if the ball is hitting them very lightly. They always tell you, do this, do that. Then I feel like I should not be doing it. Based on this short history, and since we knew the child also, we gave him a remedy. And within 7 days, the child responded, and the mother said, he's doing much better. The frequency of the bad dreams have reduced. In the past 1 week, he had the dreams only twice, and that too, he did not get scared as before. I mean, he did wake up from his sleep, but he was able to sleep peacefully. In 15 days, the mother said, he continues to do better. He's not getting the scary dreams of dogs or wars or snakes anymore. And he doesn't feel that now he's being followed by this Indian goddess. In 1 month, completely better, sleeping very well, and no problems at all. So, what did we give him? We took this, we looked at the repertory, we used all these rubrics. We took, you know, dogs attacking him, nightmares in children, snakes, and historical dream. No, he was thinking of old times and, mansions of the old times, dreams of killing, dreams of dogs, dreams of being poisoned, dreams of animals. A lot of times dreams, delusions, and fears, we use the we use these rubrics interchangeably. Hmm? And you can see clearly stramonium came up. So we gave him stramonium 1 m, 4 doses, and the child did well. But we looked at the repertory, and the repertory told us stramonium. But what else did we see? Now, this is where I want you to pay attention. In his dreams or his fears or his delusion, what did we see? We heard the words wars, poison, attack, weapons, goddess with so many weapons, snake, night, injury, being harmed, being attacked. So the theme was of danger, the theme was of violence, and the theme was of attack. Also, if you remember, he said that he's taking a shower, and then suddenly what happens? Snakes come out. So there was also a theme of suddenness. What was his reaction? His reaction was that the body shudders, he distracts himself, or he goes and sleep with his parents. We'll study this in detail a little later, but I just want you to make a little side note that this is a peculiar to a certain group of plants. This theme of danger, violence, attacks, suddenness is common in the subclass 6, especially the family Solanaceae, where stramonium belongs. It's not only that stramonium has it, but a lot of other remedies and groups within the subclass 6 has it. How can we be very confident about stramonium? Another theme is that was there in the patient was the sensitivity and reactivity. He's so sensitive. I feel like everyone asks me to adjust. Why can't they adjust? He's so elder to me. Why can't he think I am so young? So he's so sensitive and he reacts. He decides, I want to answer back. I don't want to answer back. So there was this theme of sensitivity and reactivity. So we see that there were themes of the kingdom, green tick. There were themes of the subclass, green tick. There were themes of the family, green tick. There was the keynote of the remedy, stramonium. We know it's one of the biggest remedies for nightmares, right? We have all these typical symptoms of stramonium, right tick, and then the repertory. So we looked at it from all angles. We are very sure that stramonium definitely will help this patient. Let's look at another case. This is a case of psoriasis. Again, a very short case. And this patient came to us as a, um, he just walked in. It was not a scheduled appointment. Yeah, he was passing by on the street. He saw our clinic's board and he just stepped in. So it was a very quick 20-minute history that we took and we prescribed. He had no idea about homeopathy. He had no idea about what are the random questions homeopath ask, and he had absolutely no idea about the sensation method in homeopathy. Okay. So he was just another guy. He stepped in. He was 51 years old. He came with the complaints of psoriasis on the scalp, and he had that for 2 years. And along with psoriasis, he had some constipation issue. The psoriasis first started from his elbows and then it came on his scalp. He had taken some allopathic medicines, he took something, he took Ayurvedic medicines, and he did not find like a complete cure. He got some relief and the complaints kept coming back. He also has hypothyroid. These are some of his physical generals. Loves ice cream and other things that you can see on the screen. Nature. He says, I cannot sleep if my work is not completed. I have to complete my work before I go to sleep. Since 1 year, he says there are financial problems. He had a dispute with his partners in business. And his partners did not give him his share of the money. He did his business. He had a manufacturing unit in Africa. And when they kind of had this dispute and major division of their partnership, he was extremely stressed because it was a big loss of money. He says, I had worked very hard for this business. I used to travel globally around the world. I used to do a lot of business development. So, he was customer facing. He was like one of the operations guys who was, he was not just a sleeping partner. He was on the field doing a lot of work. And in the end, that my partner told me that he cannot give me my share of profit. And his share of profit was 4 million. But he said, no, they cannot give me anything. And that was a big shock. But I said, okay, I have to do something about it. This is not done. It's my hard work. I built this business. I worked with you for so long. What to do? So another common question is to then stay with the shock, because this shock, this incident can be experienced very individualistically with all of us. If we just remain at shock, or if we remain at just anger, we remain just as the level of emotion, we will just give some handful of big remedies that we know. We have to individualize the patient, the case a little further by going beyond the emotion, going beyond the delusion, to the level of experience. So what was the experience of this situation? What did you experience? It came to me as a big shock. How could they do it? This was unexpected. I had done all the work and this came as a big shock. And it was not just one day, then it was a dragging period of 1 year. But I decided I cannot take this. I have to do something about it. So what I did, I restarted again. What do you mean restarted? He said, I started again, the same business, in the same country, in the same city. Hmm? He said it was a risk, because there was competition. But I couldn't take it silently. So I had to show them that I can do it. I can come, you remove me from the business, but I will do the same business. I will persist and I will do it next door. Hmm? He had cheated on me, and he should know that he cannot do something like this with anybody else in life. So this is very interesting, no? Not everybody is going to react like this. Imagine a pulsatilla reacting like this, to take a big shock of a big loss of 4 million and then taking the risk of starting the same business next door. Hmm? Not everybody is going to be able to do this. If it was an animal remedy, what he would have said? I will make sure he suffers. He will talk about revenge of what he did to me and how I will react and how I will make him suffer. Hmm? How dare he does this to me? What does he think of himself to do this of me? I was cheated, I was betrayed, I was backstabbed. The language and the story would be completely different. Here, we can be sure that this is a plant kingdom. Why? Because what is he saying? That it was a big shock. This happened to me, whatever happened to me, and it was perceived as a big shock to me. And I reacted. How I reacted? By doing the same business, because I was so sensitive. It affected me so badly that I wanted to do the same business next door. Then we ask in some other complaints. No, by now we were sure of the remedy, but to make some confirmatory symptoms, no, we ask him some things like, what are the kind of boss you are? What are your qualities? He says, I have staff working with me for 20-25 years. Some people who were with my earlier previous partner, they left him and they are coming and doing job with me. I'm very passionate about my business. If my work is not done on time, I will become very restless. I'm very organized. I'm very impatient to incompetencies, to delay in works, etc. So I expect the best out of my employees too. He says, I'm always punctual. I will go before time to places. It can make me very uneasy or restless. These are some of the direct questions that we are asking just to confirm the remedy. Another thing I wanted to highlight here is that each patient is different. And for each patient, your case taking methodology also has to be different. So just because, I know the sensation method or I follow the sensation method, not every case I'm going to be taking in the sensation method. A lot of patients, I use a lot of, or Prajakta also for that matter, uses a lot of meditative case taking. We take patients into deep meditation and use that opportunity to not only just find the remedy, but also to heal the patient then and there. But one size fits all does not work. This is a patient who just walks in 20 minutes case. The kind of history and the kind of case taking is different here as compared to what we did with the child in the previous case, as compared to several other cases that you would take. Yeah. So as homeopaths, it's also very essential for us to adapt to what our patient needs. We ask him, how are you with public speaking? He says, I don't know much. I like greenery. I used to do a lot of gardening in Africa. I don't have any great relationship with animals. What if someone cheats you or, harms you purposely? You just want to make sure that you're ruling out the animal kingdom. I don't like it. Even if it happens with someone else, I feel very bad for the victim, the one who's suffering. Nobody likes it. Hmm? He's not coming out and saying, you know, I can attack back, or how dare he does it. And he doesn't use that. He says, I don't like it. Who is going to like it? If somebody cheats you, I'll feel even bad if it happens to somebody else. But nothing, there was no energy here that anything else came out. He doesn't believe in revenge. I'm very fast in my work. I will get irritated if somebody is working slowly. Work should be done perfectly. Work should be done on time. There should be no mistakes in work. So much focus is around work and business. That's all as he's talking, right? We are not getting much about his relationships, about his family, about his fears or hobbies. That's not the context in the case at all. Nothing much is coming out. He says, I read newspapers. I gain knowledge from books. Yeah. Nothing else. There's no energy, no focus in any other areas of life, but this fast-paced work, perfection in work, impatience in work, business and loss of business, and this sudden shock. So we gave him the remedy. When we gave him the remedy, his patches increased slightly for the initial 10 days. And then he had, slowly, he started seeing changes. He saw changes in his constipation much sooner. Hmm. His mood improved, but there was some ups and downs in his psoriasis patches in the first month. Then in 3 months' time, and by that time Corona had come, so he said, there's a financial loss now again, due to the lockdown. If something happens to me, what will happen to my family? So I don't think about it much. Whatever will happen, let it happen. Hmm. Itching on the patches is there due to dryness, scales come out, but motions are better, sleep is good, appetite is good. Then in 6 months, the patches on the scalp, they improved significantly. The elbow patch comes and goes. And overall, he said, I'm 60 to 70% better. In 1 year, the patient continues to do better. When there is some stress, there are slight triggers. But overall, he did very, very well. This is just to show you how he had the patches. You see here, it was completely, his entire scalp had the patch. And then it completely, not only cleared, but it stayed cleared for consistently long time. He does not regularly now take medicine. He comes and goes, but he's doing extremely well. You see here another angle, and you also see his elbows. So, what remedy? All right. Very good. I already see a lot of Nux Vomica on the chat. Yes, it's Nux Vomica. That's absolutely correct. So let's see why Nux Vomica. We take all these standard rubrics: industrious, fastidious, anticipation, does not want to talk a lot, difficult stool, Nux Vomica. We gave him in the 6C potency. But other than the repertory and the keynotes of Nux Vomica, we know what else did we see? We see an individual who is a businessman, very accomplished, and suddenly there is a shock of being denied his share of profit by his partner. So the keywords were sudden and shock. And what did he feel? He felt shock. He did not feel betrayed. He did not feel cheated, but he felt shocked. And how did he react? He works very hard. He builds a business in the same country, in the same city. So works zealously to build his empire all over again. So what do we understand from this? One is sensitivity and reactivity. There's no theme of structure that because I was incapable, that is why this happened, or I don't have the resources to build this again, or whatever. So there's no theme of structure. what I have, what I don't have. There's no themes of upmanship, of territory, of no animal themes, as I explained earlier also. So the theme was clearly of the plant kingdom. Also, the theme of being very developed. Hmm? His ego is very developed, He's talking. I mean, as I give example, can, let's say, Nux Vomica react in this way? Hmm? For example, can let's say, can chocolate respond this way? Yeah. Can Rustock respond this way? Hmm? Can an opium respond this way? No. So he is much developed, he has the resources, he has the ego development to say that yes, I can build my business all over again, and I will show it, I can do it. Yeah. So this also is a theme of the right side of the plant chart. Hmm? So 6, the column 6, the subclass 6, especially is the King series. I and the world, what I can do for the world and what world does to me. We also saw the themes of suddenness and shock. These are also the themes of the family Loganaceae, which belongs to the subclass 6 Asterids. And then Nux Vomica as a remedy has the feeling that someone has occupied his bed and place of comfort, and he wants to regain his position of comfort. You see, Nux Vomica in the rubric desire repose. And then what will Nux Vomica do? He will try zealously, in a very fearsome way, try and regain his position of comfort. So, desire to make rapid efforts to recover from the shock very, very quickly. So we see we see the themes of the kingdom, of the subclass, of the order, of the family, and the peculiar keynotes of the remedy. Then we can be very, very absolutely sure of the prescription. Yeah. Let's see it in another case. This is a case of insomnia. It's a 35-year-old woman, and she works as a house help at somebody's house. Um, and this guardian, or the employer, brought consulted us asking help for this person. So she says, even if I don't sleep in the afternoon, hmm, I still am unable to sleep at night. I have no work to do after 10:30 in the night, but I still keep on thinking. Thoughts keep coming one after the other. One thought leads to another, and when it's morning, I don't even realize that it's already morning. And then I have this headache which persists throughout the day. I've started having these problems with my sleep since I gave birth to my third child. And I feel that my sleep is never complete, and I'm constantly sleepy, but I'm not able to find sleep. If there would be somebody else in my place, they would have definitely dozed off. I am going without sleep night after night after night, and I'm still working. I'm still unable to sleep. And she's a house help, so you can imagine that her life isn't easy. And there's a lot of physical labor that she has to do. So she does a lot of physical chores at her employer's place, then her own house, then she has 3 children. So there's a lot of work for her. And despite all of that, I'm unable to, even sleep. It's also not like that I'm using my phone a lot or I'm binge watching. Whatever I do, I try all the measures, but I have literally no sleep at night. I can't fall asleep at night. And in the day, I don't even feel like sleeping. Not that I'm going to cover up or compensate for my lack of sleep at night during the day. We ask her a little bit about her nature. She says, I get angry a lot. And in the anger, I say so many things that I don't even realize. I have no control. I will just say out lots of things, and then that person will really feel bad. To whoever I have shouted or got angry in the day, then I'll keep thinking about it the whole night. Why did I say this? What did that opposite person say? So it kind of keeps, the thoughts keep kind of playing in my head over and over again. I can hit my kids, you know, and my younger child gets the most beatings from me. My husband, he's out of the house for 3 or 4 days for work. So I have to handle a lot of things on my own. You know, doctor, what work usually men do. I do those things. I have to look after the children. I have to look after the house. I have to look after the, physical aspects. If, electricity is not working, water is not there, carrying weight, I do all of it. And I feel so irritated. I say out things and then I repent. I want things to be neat and clean and in their proper place. If my children make a mess, then I get angry. I want everything to be spick and span. I like to be busy in my work, especially at night. I don't like to be disturbed by anyone. If I'm doing something, if I'm focused on something, if I get disturbed, I'll be very, very irritated and I will snap. I like to do things in my own way. I don't like to take opinion of others. And I'm not satisfied with anyone else's work. I also like to look presentable. I like to look nice. Sometimes, just when the sleep is about to come, I feel a sense of uneasiness. I don't know why, but there's a little anxiety. And as soon as I feel that, my sleep will just go away. And then again, I will lay on my bed and my mind becomes so active. It's like I'm not feeling tired. Sleep just doesn't come. I'm so active at night. So far in whatever history we shared, what is it that we can note? So don't just listen, maybe participate in your mind, just start analyzing what's happening. What we are hearing, there is sleeplessness, so there is issue with the sleep. Then what is it that we are seeing? That there's a lot of activity. She does a lot of work. She's not like a laid back kind of a person. She's busy, she's doing a lot of work. And a lot of this activity in her mind as well is at night. There are themes of irritability and anger. And there is this theme of fastidiousness, right? She wants everything to be perfect in her own way. And she said there's something unknown, some fear that comes just when I'm about to fall asleep, and then suddenly the sleep goes away. We also see that she is a very strong individual. I want to do the things that I want to do. I will do things that men usually do. So she is a person whose ego is much developed. So we can definitely rule out a lot of very, very less developed, low confident, less evolved remedies for this patient. Then we explore her childhood a little bit. She says, my father used to drink a lot. He was an alcoholic. And then when he would come home, he would shout and scream and be very abusive. He could also get very violent. He used to be awake and keep us awake as well. She says, I left my schooling when I was in my 8th grade. And after that, I have been doing household work. When I was 18 years old, I was married. And now also my parents keep fighting. And all the time, my experience was that of irritation. I used to feel, what is happening? I would back answer people. I would abuse people. I would say, what is happening? I would not keep things inside me. I feel that these habits of anger, irritability, back answering, all of this came from my father, from my childhood, and it has remained with me even after my marriage. So, some other things that we gather is anger, abuse, alcohol. She was also very responsible for a very young age. She started working. And then there was this strong individual with a lot of fieriness that we see in this patient. Hobbies and interest. When we were this case was done on online on Skype or on Zoom or something like that, and when we were doing the case also, she was doing a lot of mandala art. And she says, I love to draw designs and I love this since my childhood. I don't decide and draw something spontaneously will come in my mind, and I'll be completely engrossed. I get these vivid ideas, these amazing designs, especially at night when everything is quiet and peaceful, when everybody is silent, everybody is gone to sleep. And then when my mind is at peace, I will get these ideas and I will start doing my art. She's a very creative person. We saw some of her art. It was excellent. She says, I don't fear anything. Maybe as a child I had fear of height. I have seen myself falling from height in dreams, but other than that, nothing major, nothing of significance. Some physical generals, she says she loves tea and coffee. There's an intense craving. She likes strong ginger. She likes extra lemon in her food. She loves spicy food. She's not fond of sweets at all. She's thirsty and she is a hot patient. We gave her the remedy and she responded quite nicely. And, um, you know, her mood improved, her generals improved, and her sleep, became refreshing. Initially, she would get shorter amounts of sleep, but when she would wake up, she would feel fresh. And gradually, the duration of her sleep also kind of increased. She reduced her tea and coffee at nights. She stopped doing her art at night because, that would make her mind more active. She was not able to sleep in the afternoon, but at night, she would get good sleep. And overall, her anger and irritability improved a lot. Within 6 months, she was doing extremely well. And we were treating one of her child for bedwetting. And the child was extremely scared. And we could see that from the way the child was improving also. The child was very, very scared of the mother. And very organically, very naturally, we saw that both the mother and the child improved together. The changes in the mother were affecting the child, and the changes in the child were helping the mother too. So, very well, she responded. The remedy that we gave her, I'm just looking at the chat if anybody already had any suggestions. We took these rubrics. You can see on the screen, industrious, loquacious, lots of thoughts causing sleeplessness, ideas abundant at night. You see all this, creative. So Coffea was coming up along with Nux Vomica next to it. We gave her Coffea, but we didn't give her Coffea just because it came in the repertorization sheet. So what did we see now? I want you to start telling me, because by now you understood that we are going to talk about what is common between these remedies. So by now you need to start connecting the dots. What is common between the case 1, the case 2, and this is the third case? What else did we see in this patient? We saw if one is repertorizing, you using a software or a tool to kind of put the symptoms. Another position that as homeopaths we can take is we can sit back, and zoom out. When I say zoom out, I mean you sit back and you see, okay, what is this patient like? He's a strong individual. He's somebody, yeah, she's a strong individual. She's someone who has taken a lot of responsibility since childhood. Along with insomnia, we see there is no tiredness. This is very interesting, no? Somebody would say that I'm very lethargic, I'm drowsy, I've lost all energy. She has lost her sleep, but at the same time, she has not lost her energy. So we see increased activity, increased ideas in night, creativity, alertness. And then we see this some unknown fear just when she's about to sleep, which keeps her awake. And then we see the desire for stimulants. So from a zoom out perspective, we know that this ego is much developed, looks like somebody who's on the right side of the chart. Then we know some keynotes, symptoms of Coffea. Then we know that a lot of remedies, this anger and irritability is also seen in which other remedy? We know it is also seen in China, for example, belonging to the same group. And then we see there is no themes of structure, there is no theme of um, um, animal themes. Do you see this? What we see is how things affect her. How the abuse and the alcohol and the shouting and irritability of her father affected her, and how she responded. And we see alertness, activity, and creativity. These are the three very, very, very important themes of the Rubiaceae family. And we know that Coffea is a major remedy for insomnia. They are active at night. They are very creative people. They are full of adrenaline, no? What next task can I do? Rubiaceae family, tuberculomyism, and all these rubrics, if you can look at on the screen. So we can be very sure of Coffea because not just from one angle, we have reviewed it from all the angles. Let's look at it from another case. This is a very short case, and a very acute case, a patient who was in acute renal failure, hospitalized, and 65 years old man. He had one episode of stroke and now diagnosed with chronic kidney disease. And suddenly, see again, see what is common in these remedies. No, what is the same? I'm using the same words again and again. Suddenly, his creatinine shot up, and there was a lot of retention of fluid. So there was anuria, and it was painful. The urine had stopped coming, and he was unable to pass urine. He's exerting, he's trying to pass urine, but it's very, very painful. And there's a lot of weakness, breathlessness, and he's advised dialysis at least 3 times a week. some history that was given by the wife. The wife said that he suffered from financial loss of 5 crores in 2014. 5 crores. If I have to translate it into millions, I think mm, I don't know, but lots of millions. I think 100 lakhs is 10 lakhs is 1 million. Yeah, so 100 lakhs is roughly 10 million. So 10, so I think 50 million. He lost 50 million in 2014. And he borrowed money from his close relatives and he invested in the share market. Hmm? And then the share market kind of crashed. Okay. And he was obviously tremendously affected by it. But what he decided, what his response was, that I'm going to pay off each and every individual from whom I have taken money. So he sold his 2 properties, 2 houses that he had, and he repaid the money. And whatever money was left, he kept it in bank, and then he's living off the interest from the bank. So we see again, number one, who has the capacity to even lose 50 million worth money? And then the stance of saying that I'm going to repay, I'm not going to say that I'm going to run off. I'm going to repay each and every person the money that I have borrowed. You see the second case and the fourth case, little similar, no? In terms of what happened to them. He did not want to take anybody's help, even in his physical condition. Yeah, right now he was almost bedridden. So he's still watching share market, even on bed, even in hospital, he's looking at what is the market doing? What is the stock exchange doing? And he's investing and he's talking about money. He's giving a lot of donations to a lot of religious groups. And he says that by 2021, I'm going to pay all the loan off. He's almost nearing his deathbed. And he's still talking about money, business, about, repaying the loan. So these are the kind of individuals that belong to the subclass 6. When we speak to the patient, he says that I don't have any complaints. I'm doing very well. I'm feeling weak. And my brother-in-law told me that you will come to help me with the medicines. So we asked him, we heard that there was this business loss. How did it all affect you? He says it was a big shock to me, but I wanted to sustain through that shock. I wanted to give everybody's money back. And I did a lot of efforts for it. When people used to ask me money, I felt as if I'm not valued enough. Because I'm not paying their money on time, I used to feel very bad. I used to feel that they are not valuing me. My position in the society has somewhat fallen because of this. I definitely felt very, very bad. But my only goal was to arrange the money and give that money back. We asked him that, your wife said that despite all of this financial problems, you do a lot of donations. He says, yes, of course, I do all these donations for my family. I don't want to only restrict the benefit to my family, but I also want to do things for the society. So I wanted to do this, and it was my wife's wish. So despite everything, I will continue to do this. He says, I'm very confident in 1 year, in next 1 year, by 2021, I'm going to repay everything. Only 3 rubrics. Shock ailments from, financial loss aggravates, and Wells says he is when very sick. And very interestingly, Arnica came up. There are other remedies that you would otherwise see, You can expect arsenic and opium, but I did not expect to see arnica. So what did, how we can look at this case? We can look at this case from a zoom out perspective. This is strong individual ego. It is about me and the world. And he fights back. And he fights back to correct things. And he perceived this loss, this shock, as a mental shock, as an injury, so to say. He thought that his social position, his value in the society is somewhat affected. And this is a subclass 6 theme. He's defiant. He says, I'm well when he's sick. So he's a very, very strong individual. When you look at reference work and you just look at the physical symptoms, of pain, of anuria, you see arnica comes up so strongly. Within 2 hours, he passed 300 ml of urine. His breathlessness and weakness improved. We were able to delay. There was no emergency in his dialysis. And he started, passing at least 600 to 800 ml a day. So he really did respond very well. So to summarize, while each of these 4 cases had its own peculiarities, did we find something common? What was the common thread in all of these cases? What was common? One, the sensitivity and reactivity. In the Stramonium case, what was it? It was the terror, the violence, and his response was distraction, clinging, going into the mother's room. In the Nux Vomica case, what was the sensitivity item? Shock. And the effort to come up, to rise up to the occasion, to build his empire all over again. In the Coffea case, it was the activity, the sleeplessness. And in the Arnica case, there was shock, injury. And what he says, I'm well, he's numbing away. What is other thing that was common? Other thing that was common was this strong, developed, individualized ego. The Stramonium child, he was such a young boy, less than 10 years old. He's saying that elders don't respect children. In the Nux Vomica case, we are seeing that despite such a huge loss, he's saying what? He saw, I'm going to come up. I'm going to make sure that I do well. In the Coffea case, he takes all the responsibility since young age. This person works from her young age, takes up a lot of responsibility. She does a lot of, work. She manages her family. She takes the entire responsibility of her family. In the Arnica case also, it was a big business, sudden loss. I think somebody is unmuted. If you can please mute your line, or Asmita, if you can do that for me, please find somebody who's unmuted and please mute them. It's very distracting, actually. Thank you. So Arnica case also, strong person. He's not a weak person. So we see that despite the physical agony he is in, he wants to repay the loan. So we see strong, developed, individualized ego in all the 4 cases. What was another thing that was common? Another thing that was common was there was a sense of suddenness, sense of violence, and sense of attack in all the 4 cases. In the Stramonium case, we had violent attacks, danger, animals, snakes and poisons and bungaris and God knows all that. Wars. In Nux Vomica case, we had this sudden shock from the partner. In Coffea, she said, no, I'm very alert. Just before sleeping, I get this some sort of an unknown fear, and then suddenly the sleep goes away. I'm falling asleep, I'm losing my guard, I'm falling asleep, and suddenly some unknown fear comes, and then I open my eyes and I'm sleepless. In Arnica case, we just see this sudden renal shutdown, sudden financial big loss. So we see suddenness, we see violence, we see attack. This was another common thread between all these remedies. And while there were these common threads, each of them was unique, right? Otherwise, we would give like homeopathy would be so easy, Each was unique. Because each of these remedies have their unique characteristics. You know, um, from the proving you can, sometimes, a lot of things can be very common in a particular family, but you will find one very peculiar symptom some prover had in that repertory or in that proving. So you will have to find out not just, okay, I understood this is a plant, I understood this is a subclass 6, and I understood maybe this is Loganaceae family or compositive family, but you will still need to understand the keynotes, the peculiarities of that particular remedy. So your basic materia medica and the understanding of the provings and the, reading the source materia medica, there is no way out. You will have to know that. So we see in the Stramonium case, no, clinging and escaping, and in Nux Vomica, we say this, no, feverishly trying to regain the position back. We see the creativity and the alertness and the activity of Coffea. And in the Arnica, we see, strong guy, took all the beatings, and then wants to fight back. My social position came down. He perceived that as an injury, but he stood up. So going back to that, the triangle that with which we began. So if you see in the Stramonium case, you can categorize, no? What are the themes of the kingdom? What are the themes of the subclass? What are the themes of the order? So sensitivity and reactivity, sudden violent attack was common in all the 4 cases. But the focus was of terror and fright in the Stramonium case. And this terror and fright is very, very peculiar of the Solanaceae family. And then we have these symptoms of the remedy. In the Nux Vomica case, again, subclass kingdom understood, but the main theme was shock. And for the Gentineals, the Loganaceae family, shocked, let down, disappointed, turned to pieces, shattered, ruined. Shock is so sudden that they can even paralyze. We have Ignatia is also part of this family. Gelsemium is part of this family. So it's a very common theme. The focus was not on terror. The focus was what? On the shock. So Loganaceae family. And then we had the peculiar symptoms of the remedy. In the Coffea, the focus was what? On alertness, on activity, on creativity. So we know the generals of the family Rubiaceae and the symptoms of the remedy. And lastly, in the Arnica case, the theme or the focus was on injury. The shock was perceived as injury. The loss of finance was perceived as injury, my social position. And he says, I'm well, even though I'm sick. And he behaves as if nothing has happened. I know by 2021, I'm going to repay everything. Yeah, and this suppression of urine, a very keynote of the remedy. So like this, we need to study our remedies, and then kind of it makes our life easy. The classification, these charts, the understanding of kingdom and groups from a sensation method, where you understand the kingdom, you understand the sub kingdom, you understand the family and the sensation, or you understand these remedies from the way they evolved. So Yaki talks about the evolution journey of the plants. And what is the ego evolution of these plants. And then Dr. Mahesh Gandhi talks about the inner development. The inner Eric Erickson's inner development. My outer age can be 50 years old, but inside I can be a small child. So if we kind of look at it from all angles, along with the miasm, along with the keynotes, it becomes excellent. So subclass 6, to summarize, these are the different orders. Solanales, which has Solanaceae, which is the main family. It's the womb stage of development, and the main theme is terror and fright. Gentianales belong to the oral stage and the anal stage of development from an Erik Erikson's development perspective. And we have the Loganaceae family, the Apocynaceae family here. And the main theme is of shock. Then we have the Sclophoraceae. And here the main stage of development is school age, and the main theme, main dynamic is that of separation. We have then the rubiales. The stage of development is adolescence, and the main dynamic is that of alertness. We have the laminales. The major family is Lamiaceae. The inner developmental stage is young adult, and the main dynamic is that of thrill, of excitement, of sexuality. You have all these herbs over here. You have the menthol over here. You have the lycopis over here. You have the oregano over here. All these thyme you have over here. Very stimulating. And then we have the asteroidales, which is the late adulthood stage. You have all these, the main theme is that of suffocation and that of injury. So the stage is adulthood and old age. So you have a lot of injury remedies over here, like the arnica, the chamomilla, the cinna, etc. So to summarize, the main themes of the subclass 6 are that of sudden, large impact, of violence, of rage, of convulsions, of injury, of blow, of shock, of attack, of fear and terror, of escape, of run, of hide, of alertness, of rapidness, of exhilaration, of impulsiveness, and a lot of shamelessness. The column 6, the asteroids, is the botanically the most advanced subclass in the plant kingdom. Many species are characterized by tubular flowers, signaling an advanced turn towards selective pollination. Lot of colorful flowers, and you see this, the sunflower, no, it's not just one flower. It's several flowers coming together. It's about, in a lot of ways, subclass 6 is the current stage of evolution of human beings where we are, no? Where we live in groups, where we work in groups, where we have these big organizations. Everybody has a different skill, and we come together and we work together, So a lot of them, we come together, but at the same time, we have our unique characteristic, our unique individuality, and we want to shine out. And a lot of our current stage of evolution as human beings is about advertisement, no? Going out there to be colorful, to be attractive, to attract attention, to market ourselves. That's what the subclass 6 is also about. The apex of development of the ego and individuality, yet at the same time describes the attempt of the individual to reunite with the world from a place of complete awareness. Being attacked by the world, afraid of being overtaken by the world, afraid of being smothered by the world, and actively guarding one's own boundary. But at the same time, wanting to interact, wanting to give, wanting to share, but maintaining my individualistic position. So the boundaries are very strong. My ego is so strong. But because my ego is so strong, I'm vulnerable because I can have a sudden violent attack to my individuality, to my ego. So there is this theme of suddenness, violence, and attack. In Solanacy, the fear, fright, and terror. In Loganacy, the sudden big shock and impact. And in Compacity, injury. Anything experienced as threat elicits a response, whether it is to fight or flight, like the Solanacy, whether it's to contract and just drop off, go into pieces, like the Loganacy, or whether it is to become alert, like the Rubacy. There is a big desire to have, to be special, to shine, to sparkle, to stand out, and a sense of egocentricity. Desire to prove and reveal oneself to the world and to interact with the world. So, my relationship with the world can be that of giving, like I'm contributing, I am doing something for the society, I'm donating, I'm building a better world, or that the world is taking away from me and I have to withdraw and I have to take care, or I have to fight and, or I have to run away. But there is always an interaction between me and the world. With that, I would like to also invite you that this level of study of the plant kingdom, and this was just a teaser of that sort, no? But in much more detail, we are doing this entire 1 year module where we are taking each of the subclass. We have dedicated 1 month or 2 months per subclass. We are going to be doing the entire, not just the dicotyledons. We just, looked at the dicotyledon chart today, but we have similarly a monocotyledon chart. We have an ancient plants chart. So each of the subclasses of the dicotyledons, of the monocotyledons, of the ancient plants, we are studying in a lot detail. A lot of these concepts for some of you may be new. Some of you are veteran homeopaths, I'm sure. And but a lot of these concepts and the way we practice, both myself, Prajakta, and our colleague Dr. Reni Shah, who's also a chief speaker, is we integrate a lot of these contemporary concepts, but never ever leaving the core concepts, the classical homeopathy that all of us learned at school. So how we are able to kind of, use the best of the worlds and how we can integrate that in our practice. We clinically show that, cases after cases, um, from different speakers, from different authors, from different provings. It has been a great journey so far. I think we have done the basic concepts. We have completed the subclass 1, we have completed the subclass 2, and right now we are going to be having subclass 3 next week. So I invite all of you to join us. This is a very thorough study, so only dedicated and sincere homeopaths are invited because there's a lot of work. There are case studies, etc. Dr. Mahesh Gandhi is a chief mentor. He comes once in a quarter to share his thoughts, to have a live interaction. So I really, really invite all of you to join us. It's going to be an exceptional learning journey, and it's going to kind of transform your practice 360 degrees. I can guarantee that. You can reach out on these email IDs and on these numbers. And if you have any questions, or you would like to register, etc. I want to pause here to see if there are any questions for today's sessions, and any thoughts anybody would like to share. More than welcome. If there are no questions, any experiences anybody would like to share? I would welcome any experiences also. I see a lot of known people, or some of them are also participants of our plant module. So if you all want to share your experiences, more than welcome to do that as well. All right. Dana, thank you so much. I think you were exceptional. Did I go too fast? All righty. Okay, there is a question on the chat, and it is, what is the main core of Arnica? So the main core of Arnica is injury. But what we know of Arnica is the physical injury. That's the first remedy we think of if there is a injury. But this injury is also mental injury. And this injury has a characteristic. The injury is sudden, it is violent, and it seems like an attack, like an injury, mentally also. So this is the main core of Arnica. And we can use Arnica as a constitutional remedy, and not just as a remedy that you give, just for a simple fall or a fracture or whatever. There's another question. Is this course for practitioners or students? The plant module is open for everybody, whether you're a student or you're a practitioner, whether you have any background of sensation method or personal evolution, it does not matter, because we are starting with very, very basic. So everybody benefits, so it is not restrictive for anybody. Another question is, will Arnica have a weak ego? No, because when we say ego, we mean the ego development, not the ego from a perspective of haughtiness. That is another. When I'm saying ego is developed, as in my individuality, my individualized ego. That means how developed I am, how much resources I have to function, to deal, and to achieve in this world. So they will not have Arnica individuals are more developed, because not only they are in subclass 6, which is like the most evolved plant subclass, but they are also in the 6th subclass at the bottom, in the adulthood stage of development. So they can be very strong individuals, and more often than not, I have had 3-4 cases where I had to use Arnica when the ego is breaking down, as in they are in end terminal stage diseases, or there where there's a big financial loss, or where there has been a huge impact, and they are kind of, the ego is shattered, but they will be very, very developed individuals. Anything else? Another question is, the recording of this session, I think it's already on YouTube, but I think we will have both the English version and the Bulgarian version made available to all participants, so you will have it. And if you're asking about the plant module, the recordings of the plant module are available for 2 years. And yeah. Another question is arnica. Wow, arnica has become quite popular. Arnica, is it used internally with external also in one patient at the same time? We generally don't use, any external applications. At the most, I have used calendula. So I generally prescribe remedies to be taken internally, haven't used it externally. Sometimes in patients who cannot consume a remedy, it can be applied on their skin, etc., so that it gets absorbed from the skin. But in general, not as a local application. Okay, let me see if there's any other question. I think that kind of summarizes everything. Thank you so much once again. Everybody who made this webinar possible. I wanted to thank everybody who's involved in some way or other. Thank you very, very much. And thank you, Ekaterina. Thank you, Dana. Thank you, Twinta, and everybody. Yeah, we'll be in touch. And if there's anything, please reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to answer your questions even after this webinar. Okay. Bye bye. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you very much.